Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of Trash Your Past with your boy Mohatch. That's me. Appreciate y'all swinging through again, checking me out, seeing what I got going on. But without further ado, any delay, let me get in tune with y'all on what today's episode is going to be about. So today we're going to be talking about relationships and what's going on in our culture as far as why we don't have the right relationships in place for role models. Is it the entertainment industry always breaking relationships down, whether they started off good and ended bad? Or is it just that we as a culture don't necessarily know how to keep the house close-knit anymore? I'm not sure whether or not if Bill Clinton has a lot to do with that. You know, he passed a bill back in the 90s that created a lot of separation. The 3 strikes and you out was not cool. You know what I'm saying? It created a lot of devastation across his households across America. So with that said, I just want to really talk about the toxicity within relationships that we see today and see whether or not if there's a way in which we can get ourselves back on the right path for having healthier relationships, more meaningful relationships, and having the right people in our life so that we can have a meaningful, successful, happy life. You know, so pay attention, stay tuned. We're going to get to it. So I just touched on a topic of toxicity, right? Unfortunately, within our culture and hip hop, within R&B, within the black community, specifically in the entertainment side, right? It seems to be that relationships tend to unravel, and they don't unravel in a rather peaceful way, right? It's always for the media to nitpick at. You know, it's always memes going up, poking fun and embarrassing people who are having difficult times in their life. That's really what it is, right? So let's kind of examine, if you will, 2 of the most recent relationships that's worth breaking down. I don't know which ones to pick between, but I'm gonna just start with this one. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, right? Man, growing up, you know what I'm saying, especially in the 90s, Jada was always fire. You know, we always had mad love for Jada. She was holding down in every role she was given. A fine, young, black woman who was able to represent on the big screen. Did always well. Phenomenal numbers whenever she was touching movies, right? So, boom. Then you got Will Smith, you know what I mean? A young man came up out of Philly, where it was hard times for him, you feel me? But he was able to levitate to a new, different plateau, if you will. He elevated himself through music, crossed over to acting, and boom, he just happened to be a blockbuster success with each movie that he touched. So, long story short, those 2 were able to forge what seemed to be a beautiful relationship. They were idolized by many. J. Cole even quoted them a few times as far as relationship goes, to say the least, right? He quoted their names to say, like, that's what I would aspire to have as far as me and my young lady. So I'm just trying to point out that at one point they were the ideal relationship. You know, rumors kind of circulated about what they were doing outside of they marriage, you know what I'm saying? But those are rumors, and I don't necessarily want to fuel the fan on it, you know. But with that said, we all know what happened with Will and Jada. Specifically Jada, she allowed herself to get caught up in an entanglement, which technically is leading to the unravelment of their relationship, her and Will. Her and August Alsina involved themselves in ways that were beyond that of what 2 adults should, you know, involve themselves when one's married. But it is what it is. Sadly, it put Will Smith in a awkward situation to have to address things at the red table with his wife, whom technically was in a way trying to like play it down, you know. But that's a different conversation. I just want to point out the fact that, again, it was a healthy relationship that for whatever reason the entertainment industry allowed it to become toxic, and then memes circulated Jada Pinkett's face on that of Future. And we all know Future doesn't have apparently the healthiest relationships, you know, multiple baby mothers and such. But whatever the case is, he seems to be doing well by all of his children from what the media reports. So back to Will and Jada. It's just unfortunate to see what was once a relationship go crumble. You know, my thoughts, my condolences out to Will Smith and his pride. You know, that's a tough defeat to face. But he's a man and he handled it right. You know what I'm saying? I respect him. Jada, I wouldn't necessarily. I'm not even gonna speak on that one, but hey, shout out to the family though. You know what I'm saying? Jaden, I know, is communicating of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Being pent up in the crib with all this COVID going on, plus having all of that hoopla with your parents is kind of difficult. So I salute you, young king. You know what I'm saying? Hold your head to the highest. And Willow and everybody else that might have been impacted in your family. You know, big salutes to y'all. So aside from that though, you know, I just think about it. Is it the entertainment industry? Is it the, you know, the relationship dynamic of black communities in general? Ask yourself. This relationship I want to talk about is rather interesting because it wasn't a relationship I don't think people were too much aware of, but it became very public very quickly, and it's still something that people are kind of glued to, trying to figure out what's what, right? Obviously, hopefully that was a hint for you, but let me just unveil it, if you will. Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez. What's on y'all mind about that? You hear me? Like, what's going on, right? So, long story short, if you've been under a rock, if you were unaware for whatever reason, Tory Lanez upped the strap and shot Meg Thee Stallion in both feet. It's not funny. That's toxicity. That's abuse against a woman with a deadly weapon. I'm not going to insinuate as to why he might have done so. I'm not going to justify why he might have done so. And salute to Meg for, you know, keeping it G this entire time as well and allowing the process to take place however it's taking place. Whether she going to pursue the court route, if she going to press charges or not, I'm unaware. She might let her Houston homies take care of it. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. But, what's on your mind about that, man? Toxicity. Coaches of ours impacted negatively in regards to relationships, having healthy ones. Why can't we keep the household together? Why do we always crumble, fall apart for the world's entertainment? What's really going on in the entertainment industry? That's really what I wanted to kind of like present to y'all as far as relationships and toxicity. Ask yourself, how do we get back on the right path? There is a positive relationship that I want to highlight, two of them as well, the contrast, right? So you obviously got you got Jay-Z and Beyoncé, like who didn't think of that one, you know what I'm saying? But then you also got Barack and Michelle, you know what I'm saying? So salute to them for making the right examples as well. Like, that's really admirable. I know Jay-Z had his elevator incident and whatnot, but they still together. They still bringing in young kings and queens as far as children into the world. I'm not sure if they got a son. I don't really know, but nonetheless, I know they got kids, you know what I'm saying? So salute to them for making it work and getting as far as they have, you know what I mean? And hopefully they can maintain that, things don't dissolve. Michelle and Barack, you know what I'm saying? Salute to y'all for many of reasons, but definitely for on the relationship front too. You know, keep holding that down. We appreciate y'all being on the forefront, leading by example. Hopefully we can do the same. There is a book that I'd encourage y'all to read and check out as well. Since this is Trash or Pass, let me give y'all a pass, which is an A+ on this book, Relationship Goals. Definitely worth checking out. It's got maybe about 11 chapters in it maximum, roughly about 200 pages at most. But in short, it's really a synopsis on relationships that have failed from a pastor's point of view, as well as, you know, that individual pastor's relationship and his trials and tribulations and the things that he was able to implore within his relationship to put it back on track for the strong longevity that relationships within our community deserve, and at this point really require. Like I mentioned, the household has dismantled significantly based off of the impact of the 90s. It's many families that are now one-parent households, you know, children living with grandparents, things of that sort. So let's just see if we can rebuild our community, starting with the relationships, rebuilding the family. From there, you know, our seeds will blossom, our seeds will grow, our seeds will be bountiful, you understand? So let's really reinvest into our people. Let's reinvest into our family first. 1